to be integrate and harmony with the other community as well. So then when they need us, we should stand by with them, and when we need them, we can call them, and we live with a peaceful life and harmony within the community. And so that's why I'm very proud of Southampton community, because there is so many different nationality people are living there, but a very peaceful community in Southampton.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to hear from the Portsmouth community. I'd like to know if they're doing the same. In fact, if you are watching and you're part of the Portsmouth community, please get in touch. Talk at thatsolent.com. We were talking just before we came on air about the local school to your area, Mount Pleasant.
Yes.
And you were saying that that's exactly what happens there. You've got children of all faiths, yeah?
Yes, all faiths, all nationality children are in Mount Pleasant Junior School, and same as the military nursery in Derby Road. So the all people know each other, and they're living very happily in Southampton, this is, I can say, also we have a big advantage. So too easy to work with the community, because there is no big issue.
Well, it sounds wonderful. It sounds like ideal life, paradise.
Yes.
But tell me, there must be some differences. Where do they show up?
They usually show up when we're outside our sort of comfort zone, I think. Outside the Newtown, Littletown area. When we go outside into the city centre, that's where we sometimes feel it. If we're in our work environment, sometimes we can feel it there as well. So you get these sort of hints or glances or maybe some words, some bit of racism here or there. But it's not rife. It's not something that happens all the time. But when something big like this happens, then we do get a backlash.
You get a backlash because people who haven't thought it through think you're part of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Would they say it, Matt?
Well, we get like, go back to your country and go back where you come from. This is your problem. You guys started this. But of course, we try to educate people that this has got nothing to do with Muslims. It's not a Muslim problem. It's not a Pakistani problem.
It's an extremist.
It's an extremist.
Well, I mean, people don't remember their own British history. I mean, Northern Ireland is part of Great Britain, and yet look at the troubles and bombing that went on there during the 70s and 80s.
Yet we didn't call them terrorists.
No, but they were
Christian terrorists. We called them. They were terrorists, but they weren't Christian terrorists.
But they were extremists, and that trouble still remains there between Protestants and Catholics.
That's right.
So would you say you've seen a noticeable difference in how people treat you since Paris?
There is a small sort of incident which is not major, and if as the police Southampton, they contact with the community and say them if anything happen, you can call the police, and police will always there to sort the problem out. So there is no major incident, but small, obviously, when the people, a lot of people lost life in Paris.
It's an important educational job. I think you've just hinted at that, really, that you're saying, look, we are Muslim people many who were born here. Mm-hmm. That is nothing to do with ISIL, or whatever they call them, ISIL Dahat, or whatever.
Yes, actually whoever is a terrorist, they are a very small number of the terrorists. Yeah. And we all, in general, one side is the majority. So when we blame one nation as a religious base or as a country base, then we're pushing majority to minority, which is, we should be careful here. We just identify the terrorist and not push majority to the minority when we blame like a Muslim or any region. So when we blame the region or nation, then we're pushing them to them side. But the people, most of people, they don't want to be themselves because who are they? They're not feeling the humanity. They're not feeling any other the life of people.
Sure.
So
Have you
who's for them?
Is there anyone you know of who's gone back to Pakistan since Paris or Tunisia?
No.
Personally, not gone back to Pakistan, but I know there was 2 or 3 people within our community who were in Paris at the time of the attack, and thankfully they came back okay. Yeah.
Interestingly, we were talking again in the break. Some of the best conversations happen in the breaks, but about people that not only going to the same school as people from other faiths, but this business about when you grow up with people, you don't think they're any different, so you might want to marry one of them. And people grow up together, and how difficult that can be in terms of the interpretation of the faith. We were talking about that wonderful film East Disease, where the father, the Muslim father, the hardline living in the north of England, he wanted his sons to marry good Muslim girls, and they weren't having it because they were very westernized.
That's right.
Does that happen very much?
I think that was in the 70s. That probably happened in the 70s. It doesn't happen that much now. I think we're more tolerant now.
So if somebody in your community, Zerat, wanted to marry a Hindu girl or a white girl, Christian girl, how would you react to that? Would you advise them against it or caution them? Or?
No, actually, we're living in a first world and bright-minded people we are, and our children is well educated also as well. But I'm thinking that the parents never think against anything about them children. They always look for them the betterment and the better future. So they're just a guide for the, I can say, from nightmare, rather than I can say they are, very free to decide what they want to for them life.
They allow the children to decide,
Oh, yes.
even though they may be bringing up more trouble by marrying somebody from a different faith.
No, I think you're growing up into more trouble if you marry into trouble, but not if you're marrying into another faith.
Right. That's very heartening. I mean, take South Africa, where it's just starting to be, people are going to school alongside each other, white, coloured, black, and they're saying it'll take a generation or two before the integration has worked properly because it's still residual, it's still hanging around, the bad feeling from the apartheid. But so you can't achieve it all very quickly, can you?
I think we've gone past the stage of not allowing the children to marry into different faiths, and it's more a case of don't marry that person because his background is more crime-ridden or that sort of stuff.
That could be the trouble.
That would be the trouble, but where faith concerned, I don't think it's a big issue.
Very right. Okay. Well, we're hearing all about that. The Southampton community, very enlightened. All right, we're going to come back after this break then, and we'll have a talk about one or two subjects linked to this, and look forward to seeing you. Don't go away, will you? Hello, welcome back. Very pleased to welcome Ziarat Hussain, the president of the Pakistan Welfare Association, and Ali Beg, who runs Awaz FM in Southampton, and they're keenly on tenterhooks as they wait for Ofcom's decision on whether you have a license on FM.
I have to say, Chrissy, every time I come back and I hear you say Awaz, you're getting to pronounce it better than I am.
Really? Did I get it wrong to start with? Awaz? Awaz?
No, it's better than me.
Oh, okay. You must give me a job on it then. Right then, well, we're back again, and we've been talking about how could we not, on the Wednesday where this programme is recorded, talking about the decision tonight, and my two panellists have made quite clear how they feel about it. There's an interesting story in the papers today, which is about India's government has been dragged into this row over whether the Taj Mahal, widely seen as a masterpiece of Muslim architecture, should be converted into a Hindu temple. Now, you've just been telling me that everyone sits happily together, gets married and all the rest of it. Doesn't sound as if it's going happily in India.
Well, the Taj Mahal, we have to remember, it was built on the basis of love.
Love.
So it's neither a mosque, it's neither a temple, it's one of the 7 wonders of the world, and that's how it should stay.
Right. Why does anybody know it's a legal case first brought by 6 lawyers in Agra in April, claims that the monument built by a 17th century Mughal emperor as a tomb for his wife was originally an ancient shrine to the Hindu god Shiva. What do we think about this then? Come on now, what do you think?
I think this is a very attractive place in India for the rest of the world to be visit there.
Yes.
The Taj Mahal is a very famous place. So if they convert to temple, so then it means a religious place. So in the religious places, only the people who belong that religious, they go there. The rest of the world no need to be.
You lose the tourism.
Lose the tourism. So
you lose the tourism.
Obviously, all over the world, people go for see this.
Well, they won't go if there's trouble, that's for sure, will they? But I'm not sure how they're going to resolve this.
But they're going to have to prove that Lord Shiva was there, and I think, generally speaking, the government are not going to back down on this, because, as Ciara said, it brings, well, the biggest tourist part of India is the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, well, interestingly, this newspaper hasn't really dwelt on that, which is a very, very realistic view of it. You know, if you want people to go there, then better sort yourselves out, lads. But no, in fact, they've done the case for each religion, Hindu and Muslim. How different are the religions, Hindu and Muslim?
Well, apart from the fact that we don't pray to idols, whereas in the Hindu faith they do, morally wise, there isn't that much of a difference.
Right. And do they fast, Hindus?
They have their own days of fasting.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we'll watch that one with interest. I mean, most of us remember that wonderful photograph of Princess Diana, don't we? At her saddest, sitting there by the Taj Mahal. I don't think it's ever been quite... There's never been quite such a famous photograph ever taken, has there? I've never been there. Have you?
I've been there once.
Have you?
You did.
What did you think of it?
It was majestic.
Majestic.
I would say
It really does knock you out, does it?
It does.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we must all try and get there then. Well, apart from very, very big stories going on about Syria and all the rest of it, there are some which are very big stories for the rest of us who lead ordinary lives but sometimes have poor health. And of course, earlier in the week we talked about a doctor's strike, and luckily I was able to point out to those who watched it a day later that it had been called off at least till January. But it's left a bit of a legacy because lots of people who were scheduled for operations and appointments didn't have them.
No.
And the papers have picked up Southampton NHS Foundation Trust, who told their patients that procedures would be cancelled because of the strike, but to follow the news, in quotes, and come if they heard it was called off. It seems a bit random to me. I mean, really, do you have to follow the news? Don't you get somebody to ring you up? You would think they...
I would say that if they had the space, they would want to call people and say, well, come in and have your operation. Most people may have been waiting quite a long time for it.
People have, haven't they? I mean, some chaps saying his back operation been cancelled 4 times. So it is quite worrying, isn't it?
If they call strike, correspondence strike, so they should call the people who was waiting list for the operation. So at least they should come forward to have the operation.
Come forward, yes. In your job as president of the Pakistan Welfare Association, does that mean you've got to make sure that your community are healthy?
Yes, the Pakistan Welfare Association have the big plan on the health issue. First of all, we trying to keep tidy up the Southampton in surrounding where we live. As I was talking to Asif, uh, in next few months we call the community to get together and we give suggestion them to once a week you clean the front garden and your park as well.
Really?
So to make people healthy in the Southampton community.
Do you think they'll do that?
Yes, we try. We
You
try.
better go in there and say to them, why did you clean your front garden then?
Because for health.
No, I mean, well, will you tell them off if they haven't done it?
Yes, we're trying to encourage them and we mutual understanding to keep our Southampton tidy up. So I think everybody not to disagree on this issue. Everybody should come forward to do this.
But that's a domino effect, doesn't
Yes.
it? If you keep your environment clean and healthy, it gives you a better health yourself.
It's interesting that, isn't it?
Mm.
So if you live in a mess, you're saying you feel your health's a mess, is it?
But your health will go down. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, healthy mind, healthy body and all that.
Oh yes, of course, of course.
Well, do you encourage them on a Wales FM then to lead healthy lives?
But we have health programs anyway, so and we try and talk within all the programs a little bit about health as well.
Well, it's interesting because when we were talking about, we were taking some voice levels off our new guest, Zerat, and so the question I usually ask is, what did you have for lunch? What did you have for supper? What did you have last night? Whatever. And he was recounting the fantastically wonderful dishes your wife makes. And would you say, I mean, chicken curry, what else was there on the menu?
I said the chicken curry and meat cry.
Meat cry.
Cry, yes, and spinach meat and biryani.
Biryani, yeah.
The nice chapati and the paratha.
Are they all good for us? That's the question. Now, I think they are because you have this thing called turmeric. Am I right?
Yeah.
In your diet?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Which we don't have a lot of.
And that's, I think it's been seen as a cancer fighter or antioxidant and something like that.
Yeah.
It has health benefits, the ingredients that we use.
Because you don't buy, one of the criticisms of all of us in the last 20, 30 years is we buy too many processed meals, which are full of sugar and sometimes not very good things.
You have to balance on your eating. When I say this curries belong to meat and chicken, same time we eat the vegetable and the dal as well. So to make vitamin, so everything becomes balance.
Yeah.
If you eat meat, obviously create the problem, cholesterol and all that.
How does it vary from what your mum eats in Kashmir?
Sorry?
Your mum, who lives in Kashmir?
Yeah, she lives.
What is the food very different here to what she would be cooking up?
The food is almost the same, but the growing the vegetable and chicken and goat and the rest of things the different way, the different environment, different I can say water, different.
Are they organic?
Organic.
Organic.
Yes. So
no fertilizers.
No. No.
Wow. Well,
yes, that's more tasty. The chicken, my mom, she used to be, grow these things in own garden. So in spinach, fingers, and the rest of vegetables. And the same time we have the own chicken at home, which is organic grown up.
I think it's also different up there as well because you're also climbing the hills.
Yes.
The environment is that you're using less transport.
And almost in sunshine. And not cold weather also.
Sunshine.
And so
What's that?
That make more, original things.
Yes, I'm surprised you aren't rushing back to Kashmir, actually, after the November we've had. They say it's the gloomiest
It's
for
the
quite a
gloomiest
while.
one, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. But goats, well, you see, if you ask, well, I'll ask you watching at home, would you eat goat? Terrible shush. They didn't take to that. I bet they said no, mostly, or no, we don't sell, we, in more normal
It's not,
supermarkets don't
yeah,
sell
it's
goat.
not that,
Goat cheese, but not goat.
Yes, when I came in this country, so here was the meat and the lamb, my family cooked that. So I wasn't familiar many years with that meat
No.
because we was eating goat there.
Okay.
The goat meat was more tasty. Or my wife, when she go there,
Yeah.
she don't eat goat.
She doesn't eat goat, right? Well, that's got us going. Should you eat goat? I reckon probably you're going to tell me it's very good for us. But I have to take a break, so we'll postpone that and come back and chat about food and all sorts in a minute. Hello, welcome back. I can't talk about food anymore. They've got me going. President of the Pakistan Welfare Association, Zerat Hussain and Ali Beg, and we've been talking about the wonderful food they cook up. So I'm dying to try some more of it. But talking of which, the trouble is that Britons, us Brits, we're just not healthy enough, so the papers today tell us. And this is all in relation to the fact that we're all going to have to keep going much longer for our state pensions. And what they're saying is the OECD, who are the Economic Cooperation Development people, they're saying, well, it may be, not viable to expect people to keep going to 68 or 70, 67 by 2028, 68 by the mid-2030, because when you actually look at the health status of people between 60 and 70, he says, you see a very rapid decline in the UK. That's kind of worrying, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, not so long ago they were telling us we were living longer.
Yeah.
And now they're saying that although we might be living longer, our health is not as good. So, actually, what does that say about our NHS?
Well, I think it isn't. I think we can't particularly blame them.
Well, maybe, yeah, I mean, the support that we're supposed to be getting is it's not there, which goes against people's health when the service is not there, or the support is not there, people's health will suffer.
Absolutely. Well, there is an interesting idea. I mean, you tell me what in Pakistan whether they encourage alternative, complementary medicine, because the feeling is here, apart from taking more exercise and your 5 a day and less sugar and less fat, you should go and have some needles stuck in you for acupuncture, which has been proved to work very well. And I'm trying to think, but I'm sure there is some sort of other medicine that you believe in, isn't there? Is it herbal? Herbal. Yeah. Do people use that?
Yes, used to be my parents, grandma, grandpa, they will use most herbal medicine rather than, the English we call medicine. So that was very healthy because whenever we ill, they just say, eat this, drink this, and you'll be all right. And the next, few hours later, we'll be fine.
Really?
Yes, that is a very effective medicine at that time. But slowly, when the old people passed away, so we lose that instruction. Sometimes the people, they can save their books to pass the new generation.
Yes.
But sometimes they lost the books, so not legacy go further in the future. But that was very nice.
Well, I mean, the thought is, isn't it, preventative medicine, the preventative methods are better to stop people getting ill. And but how do you get people to do those things? I suppose exercise and 5 a day, watching sugar, yeah?
I think we are getting more active. There's no doubt about that. But probably, as the report is saying to you, that we're probably getting less active as we grow older,
Yes.
which is then goes on to cause problems, and which means that by the time you're pension age, you're not as active as what you want to be. However, I don't think that's true across the board. There are some very
There are some
active
fantastic
people.
And I blame the weather, you see.
Mhm.
And if I lived with your mum in Kashmir, I'd have no excuse because the sun shines all the time, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Whereas in November here, you don't feel like doing much, do you?
Absolutely.
Well, that
absolutely.
is, I think we know. Andy Murray was moaning about British tennis this week, having won the Davis Cup pretty much single-handedly.
did,
Well, no,
yeah.
with a team, you know.
With his brother.
And he was saying, wasn't he had a real go about the Lawn Tennis Association, how they don't encourage young people. But the fact is he had to go a long way from home into places like Miami to train, and he still does.
That's right, yeah.
And it's very difficult.
Big businesses sponsor them. We don't have that here. And that's a shame because Lord Coe really tried to encourage a whole load of people to get into sports, especially more and more youngsters to get into sport. He travelled the country far and wide to try and get more people. But there's always that funding and the sponsorship formula, which doesn't seem to work as well in this country than it does in America.
No, regrettably that is the case. It'll have to grow if we're going to produce great athletes, great tennis players.
And there is great talent in our country, which we are not tapping into.
Well now, moving on to something else, which I think, Ali, you might be interested in, because I hadn't realised till today that in a former life you were a firefighter, yeah?
That's true.
That really surprised me. I always thought of you as a sort of radio man.
Well, one of the things that I tried to do when I started the radio was to practice what you preach. So I tried to get more people encouraged to go into the fire service, and to be able to do that, I had to join myself.
Right. Well, the reason for mentioning this is that on Friday, it is the last day for the public, for anybody who's out there who's feeling strongly, to contribute to the Hampshire public consultation on the future of fire and rescue. I mean, it beggars belief that hundreds of people, firefighters, could lose their jobs. Except, of course, it doesn't when you think money seems to be the overriding thing, doesn't it, in everything you read nowadays. But the fire chiefs are saying they want to look to create a more relevant and efficient fire and rescue service. Well, I thought it was perfectly relevant. But tell me about your experience as a part-time firefighter.
Well, one of the things the fire service is doing is that they're expanding into different areas relevant to the fire and rescue service, not just going out and putting out fires. So, for example, we go out and educate people on during Diwali, for example, where they light candles, and to put them in the right place, and be aware of that candles can start a fire just as easily as your heater, for example. And smoke alarms and that sort of stuff. So things like that. And I joined up the fire service as a volunteer to say I want to get more people involved in it. And I spent 3 days or 4 days training with a group of other people, and then for a whole year and a half, nothing. They didn't even call me up.
No call?
No call at all. And I asked my colleagues who had trained after me, they was all active on duty. And then when I complained, they suddenly came back and said, oh yeah, by the way, we didn't call you up because we didn't have anything, any more vacancies. And then I'm saying, well, you just spent, I don't know how many thousands of pounds you might have spent to train me up.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if they get rid of a lot of full-time firefighters, they're going to need people like you, although presumably you'd need retraining now, would you?
Yeah, you have to retrain every 2 years.
Yeah, but they will rely on part-timers. Just as I have a horrible feeling with the police numbers being cut, they'll rely on specials, do you think?
Probably.
Special policemen?
Probably, yeah. And they're looking more and more to tap into the volunteering market.
Yes.
To get more and more people coming in to do the work voluntarily.
Well, is that a good or a bad thing, do you think, that?
I think the police, if they carry on the official side, and as we are working as a Pakistan Welfare Association, so they can get some help, voluntary help from the community, but not much depending on the voluntary service, because that's
They
not
also
more,
depend on the skill,
and the skill as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether people have that skill to do
yes,
it.
to do that.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you're right there. The increase of volunteers is a big one. You can't have volunteers teaching children, though, I don't think, how to succeed in life. And it is interesting today that Portsmouth and the Isle of Wight, earlier in the week, got a bit of a knocking. They said there's something about these coastal areas that don't produce very good schools. This is Ofsted. But they came out today and said, oh, Hampshire and Southampton have moved up the Ofsted League table a treat. They're doing beautiful, you know. What do you put that down to? The teachers?
Well, it can't be coastal because Southampton's coastal is just as much as Portsmouth, as is the Isle of Wight. So probably teachers, I would say.
Yeah. And Ofsted obviously keeping close eye on that. Interesting. Well, the final one that you'll go, how lovely, I hope, is that, do you know Wolston School in Southampton, which is now derelict? I didn't know that, but it is nowadays. Well, anyway, this couple, Neil Thompson and Katie Young, they've known each other all the way through school, and they've been friends and everything, and then love blossomed. And so Neil took Katie back to Wolston School and said, will you marry me?
Ah.
It's nice,
Sweet.
isn't it?
Sweet.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
And I wonder...
Childhood love.
Childhood love. But they should go to the Taj Mahal, according to you.
Yes.
Because that's the heart of love.
That is love. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely go to Taj Mahal and make that your honeymoon.
Is there somewhere in the Pakistani community, is there a special way you propose to your girlfriend?
In Pakistan or here?
Here, well, either.
Here you'll have to find somewhere romantic.
Romantic,
I
yes,
suppose.
just like any other faith, yeah.
Yeah.
And what about in Pakistan? You go and ask the parents still?
Get approval.
No, this is it depends. Every individual case is different, but when they feel comfortable, both lover each other. That doesn't matter what place is.
No, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't matter.
It's this universal thing.
They look forward to propose.
Yes.
So rather than they look special place to propose, maybe they miss the chance. So whenever they feel, they can ask.
Don't miss the boat.
Kashmir is very romantic anyway.
Oh yes,
so
yes.
it's like a heaven on earth.
Yes.
So
lovely. Well, we do like a bit of romance, so we'll keep going on that subject on future programmes. And I'd like to thank you both very much.
Thank you very much.
They're actually been really great guests. Thank you for coming, and we wish you a lot of pleasure doing your new job.
Thank you so much.
And Ali, welcome, and good luck with that licence. Hope you get on the FM soon for us all to listen. And I'll be back with you, I can't remember. Try Friday. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, though. Okay, bye-bye.